Hamas, a Palestinian militant group, just launched a surprise attack on Israel, and their prime minister has declared they are at war. This tragic event is still developing, so it's unclear whether or not it will remain rather isolated and fizzle out quickly, or escalate into an international conflict. If this war does evolve into a global situation, it will affect how the US Treasury and central banks around the world act. So as investors, what should we be mindful of if an international incident or escalation of an existing conflict happens in order to protect our wealth and be prepared to take advantage of any potential opportunities? Well, there are two main things that usually happen when situations like this occur, especially when governments aren't doing so great. One, they print lots and lots of money. And two, they implement capital controls to try and keep their national currencies from leaving their country. So one, lots and lots of money printing leads to inflation due to the devaluation of the currency through basically legalized counterfeiting. And as we've seen with the continued de-dollarization around the world, as more and more countries drop the US dollar, those dollars come flooding back to the domestic US, which further increases the supply of dollars, causing inflation. And as we've seen with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, access to goods and services like energy can be limited, causing energy crises, which also causes inflation. And two, capital controls prevent people from withdrawing their money, freely using their money, and can include automatic conversions of foreign currencies into national currencies, or perhaps only allowing conversion of currencies with a set rate, which is always unfavorable for us, the citizens. So yes, we need to be aware that it will start to get more difficult to convert our fiat money into hard assets like gold, Bitcoin, and similar. And just like the US government did the last time they were in trouble back in the 1930s, they can straight up steal your gold and ban you from being able to own it. At the end of the day, it's a very simple, unfortunate process. The fall of empires starts with hyperinflation, which leads to social collapse, and then basically starvation. And here's what's interesting about the nature of governments that force their country to use fiat currencies they print out of thin air and distribute unfairly to themselves and their cronies. They don't actually need money from our taxes. Sure, they love to tax everything so money flows back to them, but the reality and overall sentiment is they don't care about us, they don't need us, and so it doesn't matter if all of us are starving because the government can and will always feast while we starve. So we need to ask ourselves some questions like, do we have hard assets? Do we have digital assets? Are they secured in non-custodial ways where we can fully, completely own and control them? And are we mobile in case we need to physically move and live somewhere else with more freedom and favorable conditions?